Good evening. It's Thursday, August 12th. Um, so today I was driving around and thinking about what I would say if I were trying to teach new drivers, new bus drivers. Okay. And what I've figured out today is that basically the whole job is stress management. Uh, and so the temptation is to get up on a blackboard and whiteboard, whatever, and draw a line, and at one end put the most stressful thing you could have happen in a day, say caused an accident that killed somebody, and then at the other end have the least stressful thing that could happen in a day, stayed in bed and was brought brunch by a servant I liked, which is better, of course, than being brought something by a servant you don't like, or so I hear. And the other end could actually be worse than killed somebody, so forth. I mean, there's well, anyway, we won't get into that. I've got a great imagination. But in the middle, between those two extremes, you have the day at work. And there are things that cause stress, and they're in varying degrees. And one of the things I'm figuring out doing this job is that one of the things I can do to lower my stress is to not carry a stressful moment longer than I need to. So, for instance, if I have a rude or awkward passenger, okay, that's stressful, and then they leave the bus. Well, if I keep agonizing about how stressful they were, I'm just carrying it around with me for no reason. If I go, glad that's over, I'm able to reduce my overall level of stress and get on with it. So that's good. And it occurred to me as I was doing this that I was trying to equate it to life as an artist or a potter. And to some extent, there's stress management. I mean, that's a stress management thing too, except it's a little more complicated. For instance, if you're used to making pots and you don't get to, that can be stressful. So potentially that, stuck in bed with the servant bringing you food, you've broken your foot or something and you have to have bed rest or some such, and you don't get into the studio and make pots, and that's stressful. Last year, I took 6 months off from making pots. And under normal conditions, I think that would have made me completely stressed out and crazy. But it worked for a couple of reasons. One was that I took a lot of naps to reduce stress. Two, I replaced that creativity, that handwork and partial sense of accomplishment and whatever, with a couple of major building projects. So I built a chicken coop and I built a garden shed, did a lot of things to the backyard that had been building up over the years and so forth. So although I wasn't getting the satisfaction from clay, I replaced it, so my stress levels were down. And of course, the doing the clay stopped being as relevant when all the fairs and shows got canceled, because I really wasn't looking to make, however many pots a week just to store them and see how big a storage unit I could fill. I don't know. So it worked out. But when you're being an artist, when you're being self-employed, when you're trying to get things done, it is about stress. What makes your job, what makes the work harder? Now, again, because artists are complicated, there's a version where potentially you get stressed out because you haven't done anything original in a while. You're just cranking product, making the same coffee cup over and over again. For certain personalities, that reduces stress. For others, potentially that adds to stress because they'd really rather be, working on this great teapot idea that they just had. But first they have to finish this commission or fill this order or, whatever. So when I do the bus thing of stress, it's pretty much a straight line. And by the way, it shouldn't be horizontal. It should be like that, because of course this stress is much more than this absence of stress. And if you ease up, gravity will bring you down. So for the potter, it's not so much a straight line. It's this complicated thing because, I got stressed by working too much, and so I did less, and then I got stressed by not doing enough, and whatever. You can probably draw it out on, a piece of paper with a pencil. You don't have to be sober for that. You don't have to be alone. It might be actually sort of a funny thing. Making lists and putting them on a timeline. What are the things that stress you as an artist? Knowing too much, knowing too little, working too fast, working too slow. Anyway, deep breaths, take breaks. Naps are precious. Good luck. Have a good night.